Okay, friends, I'm going to take it I was muted that entire time, which was not good for a live stream. So my apologies. Let's bring it back out to the camera. So I think maybe I'm going to need to do that all over again. That's the first time that has happened. But then again, two things. That's live, that's doing the show solo. And it's the beauty of YouTube when you can go in afterwards and edit that beginning part out. So I'm going to start over. Okay. Let me get my presentation ready again. Oh, goodness gracious. All right. So if you would like to make a comment in the YouTube chat, I'm keeping an eye on the live chat as well as the Zoom Q&A. In fact, I say that, and I better make sure no one's got, yeah, nothing in the Zoom Q&A right now. No live guests tonight, but there I was chatting away for the better part of 5 minutes, so if not more. So let's just kind of do another recap on what I was attempting to present. Okay, so yeah, let's give this a go. So we're going to talk about the YouTube channel. One thing I did right off the top is I just wanted to give a big thank you to the Patreon support. Tracy Newcomer came on to support and pledge $10 a month. I really appreciate that, Tracy. Very kind of you. She joined at the tree tier on Patreon. I also wanted to give a shout out to Doreen Farrar. Doreen was the very first person to sign up as a patron for Beyond 90 Seconds. I started offering the Patreon opportunity to support mid-July, so just a few weeks ago. Patreon.com/Beyond 90 Seconds if you'd like to learn more. And also, if you've been watching this channel in recent weeks, you know that if you're getting the notifications, especially, it's been a lot of wildfire content. You'd think it was a wildfire channel, but it's not. We will cover wildfires, and I had the benefit of having boots on the ground, if you will, to bring you, stories from these locations. And being the Pacific Northwest, Western U.S., there's a lot of concern this time of year, unfortunately, as we well know, even in this very day's headlines about wildfires. And so our friend Christian Zasa had a concern. Certainly his home was up against his summer home, the White Rock Lake fire at Okanagan Lake in southern British Columbia, South Central. And this scene right here is the Mount Hayes fire on Vancouver Island, just south of Nanaimo. And Janine Sadola went out and covered it, and she had people contributing these photos. Here's a still shot from Christian Zassi's HD video. This video that this still frame is taken from has done really well for me by my standards anyway on YouTube. This was a great video because it just showed these planes, these dipping planes. They dip in the water as they fly along, scoop up water, and they'll all team up 5 or 6 at a time in a single file and hit the same spot on that particular run. They can go right back to the lake, reload, and go at it again. Here's Christian Zasa. He was doing this a couple of weeks ago, live stream with us from his front porch, and that color behind him is smoke. You can't even see the lake that you could usually see right behind him. So Christian's a great friend of the channel, has a wonderful following on Facebook and YouTube and Instagram. But yeah, he did some excellent shooting and reporting for us. Janine Sadola, boots on the ground on Vancouver Island. She, in a fire danger episode of Horner's Corner a few weeks ago now, told us about just how dry it was in her area in Nanaimo. And shortly after that, the Mount Hayes fire happened, and she went out and shot that for us as well. There's Randy Small. Randy Small is in Whatcom County here in Washington State. That's a northernmost county in the Puget Sound region, directly north of Seattle, and then Everett, and north of Bellingham. Well, Whatcom County does include Bellingham, but Randy's even a bit further north than Bellingham. He's a 5-minute walk from the Canadian border, and he keeps up on the weather very much so, and has a good familiarity. He's not a meteorologist, but he, there's a reason the local Seattle media and Vancouver media like to have Randy in their Rolodex. He's a great contributor of video, photography, and local weather information. And he was telling, he was sharing, about how the Fraser River up in British Columbia basically is the chute that delivers air oftentimes southward into Washington State through Whatcom County. And of course, at this time of year, the concern was the air quality due to all that forest fire smoke. in British Columbia. And just last week, we had emergency or disaster preparedness specialist Jackie Kloosterboer on our channel, and she talked a lot about the front lines, what was going on, is going on the front lines of the British Columbia fires, because she's been away from home for much of the summer, working at what they call their reception centers that BC has, British Columbia, for the people who've lost their homes or have been displaced for the moment anyway. And she shared their stories, some of them, with us. It was very compelling and a great look inside in terms of the human impact of those fires and what people were experiencing, what they were expressing. And just like, for example, in Lytton, British Columbia, just how hot it was, because that little high country village town set a national record for all of Canada on June 29th, I think it was. It was toward the end of June for a high temperature. It was 121 point some odd degrees Fahrenheit. And the next day, the town burned. The town was burned to the ground. So that is the initial shout out that I wanted to share. So, and this time, the cool thing is you could hear me. So thanks for that. Checking the Q&A, nothing in the Q&A, and I don't see any digital hands. Let's just double check that. No. Tony Mobley is an attendee, and I want to go on the record and say thank you, Tony, for having me on as a panelist on your wonderful program last night, as your niece and her business partner and your brother and others had really a lot to bring to the table on a discussion of DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. So that was fun. Thank you for having me on, Tony. One other thing I thought we could do, I'm okay with sharing a bit more with you this evening. I thought I'd share just some of my YouTube analytics. They're modest, but nonetheless, I like to be transparent and share and kind of familiarize you as well with a bit of my journey, because I've been on YouTube for a long time, but I haven't been steadily until recently kind of active on it. So let's go ahead and take a look, and we'll share this screen. So I believe you're going to be able to see the analytics page there. And what you get by default here is you get some numbers primarily here for the past 28 days. So this channel over the past 28 days has had 61,000 views, 4,000 hours of watch time. Now, before I go any further, if you can read the small print that's right below those numbers, you can see that underneath 61,000 views, it says that's 53.3 thousand more than usual. So a normal month might be 7,000 views, but we're up to 61,000. So 7 or 8,000, normally 61. So, and then you go to watch time. Normally we'd have about 700 hours of watch time, but we got 4,000 hours of watch time the past 28 days. And then subscribers, 132 new subscribers. You know, some people unsubscribe, and hopefully more people do subscribe. And I think I probably had about 20 unsubscribers, and 150 odd new subscribers. So that comes out to a plus 132. The estimated revenue, 147.96. So if you look at this chart here, let me see if I can get my mouse off from the other display over here. Yeah. So what happened here on August 10th? Why would there be 8,500 views that day? Well, that was the day that Christian Zasa shared with me his footage of those planes hitting that White Rock Lake fire at Okanagan Lake. And that was really good video. I mean, a lot of people have commented. I think there have probably been more than 90 comments on that video. And that the YouTube algorithm liked that video. I think it's had around 16,000 views entirely, but it just seemed to lift everything in terms of the fire coverage that we have been providing. They benefited as well. And then you can see things have kind of come down to about right here, 1,487 views a day. And most recently we're down to about 1,300 views per day. But and you can see the past revenue is $147.96 for the best estimated revenue for the past 28 days. Now, I have to tell you, these numbers, everybody's going to have their own, take on that. But this channel hasn't been really proactive until just the last few months. including doing this Horner's Corner once a week, and then trying to get some good news content out there. And so this is actually pretty good for this channel. And the really neat thing about it is that people like Christian Zasa and Janine Sadola and some of the people out there that they've approached who've been willing to share their photos with me, that when you have people who go that extra mile, who just want to help and help get the word out on stories that are going on around them, and that I've grown to know and trust over the years, that is a really exciting part of building a channel in this case, or a community, an online community. So I'm really, really grateful. To me, that's something that is pretty exciting. And I used to think, wouldn't it be cool if many of the people, or some of the people that I used to work with in television that I know around the country, would want to participate in something like this. And, in a way, I've kind of done that, in the sense that what I didn't show you is that in recent weeks and months on Horner's Corner, we've had some of my former colleagues on. We had Larry Rice, who worked in weather in Seattle and New Mexico, and also in places like California and Montana. And I worked with Larry in Albuquerque, New Mexico, as well as Jeremy Hahola, who now works at a TV station in Denver, Colorado. So having these folks come on, we had Jennifer Morfitt from state agency come on and talk about, a coworker of mine now, come on and talk about diversity, equity, inclusion. It's really cool when I can bring forward these people who have these experiences and knowledge and be able to share with you, ask them questions that, hopefully result not only in an entertainment of sorts, but interesting information and maybe even helpful information. So looking at the stats down here, I don't know, let's see what it say. Average view count in the first 7 days, comparison of views by video type. Okay, uploads versus live streams. So my uploads average about 1.8 thousand views in their first 7 days, and live streams 249 views. That's, there's something that is really distorting all of this. And it's only fair that I share that with you in the interest of transparency. And it's that first video at the top here. So your top videos in this period, the last 28 days. Look at the first one. Crows trying to rescue baby crow from bald eagle nest. This video is over a year old. It's from May 15th of 2020. And it's had nearly 40,000 views in the last 28 days. And here's the crazy thing about that video. In fact, I'll stop sharing. Let me just come back here because I really want to make sure I connect with you on this. Okay. So that video featuring a baby crow in a bald eagle nest, is from May of 2020. And let's see here. Conversations with Tony Mobley series is the comment in the YouTube chat. Right on. And then Tom is here as well. Hey, Tom, nice to see you. That crow video was the easiest video perhaps I've ever made. Less than an hour. It was the lightest lift. Now you contrast that with some of the videos I've spent weeks or even months on and spent money on to get, music and some other media to help round out the project. Miles on the road. It's just crazy to me. It speaks about YouTube, it speaks about my content and pluses and minuses. It does so. So what I did was that crow video was a bald eagle nest in White Rock, British Columbia, just across the border from Washington State. And it's one of the several nests that have cameras on them, cameras provided by the Hancock Wildlife Foundation. David Hancock is the head of that foundation. He's a friend, a very close friend of Christian Zasa too. And so all I did late in the afternoon was I decided to open Camtasia and record my screen. I opened 3 tabs on my Google Chrome browser. One tab was for one of the 3 cameras. The other tab was for another camera. And there were 3 cameras at that nest. So the third tab was for the third camera. And I'm recording the screen using Camtasia as these crows, these adult crows, keep dive bombing this bald eagle nest where their little baby is in the bald eagle nest, right? And so there's this, oh my gosh, what's going to happen thing. So I thought I'll record it. And I would just change cameras by clicking on the tab to go from one to another without even being able to preview what I was about to see on the other camera. And this went on for about 50 minutes, 50, so just short of an hour. Camtasia, spits out a file. I didn't edit it beyond that. I didn't add graphics, as I recall, no voice, no music. I just uploaded it to YouTube, made a nice thumbnail. That was it. And this video, it's interesting because it gets thousands of views. I think it probably gets 1,500 to 2,000 views a day. YouTube, the algorithm loves it. And what's happening is it's really skewed my analytics in so many ways. It's almost like I wish it wasn't there, because what it means is that my audience, a lot of them are coming from having watched other similar videos. Like they'll watch, birds eating baby birds. That's the type of theme, basically. And they're usually guys in their 20s and 30s. Like I get all this in the analytics. So then they see, as they're watching this video that they're watching about some adult bird eating the baby birds, they get this suggested content and my thumbnail pops up, and that's how they find me more often than not. So by and large now, the past year, my analytics are all skewed because it looks like, 20 and 30-year-old guys like to watch my channel. And that's historically not the case. And let's see, Cheryl Gibson says, I caught a picture of an eagle catching a salmon once. Loved watching the eagles there. Oh, Cheryl, that sounds awesome. People see that, and I wish I sure could. Let's see, there's something going on in the chat. That's Tony. He says, thank you, sir. You're most welcome. Yeah, check out Tony on YouTube. He's got some good discussions. They're live once a week on Wednesdays, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Just put Tony's name. You can put Tony Mobley, Tony at Tony, Mobley, Mobley, right? And you'll find his channel, and his channel is Conversations with Tony Mobley, and he's doing a really nice job. So anyway, I just, I thought I'd share that story about the crow video, because it really has, it's brought a lot of subscribers too. Like the past 28 days, I think I've had 67 new subscribers just from watching the crow video. And part of me is like, yay, that's cool. But the other part is, well, I'm not going to have another video quite like that one. It was a unique circumstance. Those types of things do happen. Fascinating things do get caught on these Nest cameras. My buddy Christian Zasa has at least twice now covered stories where baby hawks have ended up in a bald eagle nest and being raised. It's one in particular on the Vancouver Island, a town outside of Victoria called Sydney. That was a great story. And it seemed that bird flew away. There was another one, he went down to Redding, California, covered a subsequent story, which seemed it was, had the same scenario, but it didn't look like it was a good ending for that little hawklet. The baby crow story that I uploaded, that crow survived for 3 days in that bald eagle nest and probably would have lasted longer. I don't know for a fact that it was getting fed though. What appeared to have happened was, an eaglet is much bigger than a baby crow, and a baby eagle at a certain point is much bigger. All points is much bigger than a baby crow. And there were 2 eagles in there, as I recall, and one just was on top of the crow and appeared to have smothered it. That is the conclusion of Nest observers, that's likely what happened, that the baby crow got smothered after 3 days. But usually crows are fed and consumed, to the eaglets. And, there'll be a lot of people, before you feel too sad for the crow, who will point out that the crows do something similar to other birds as well, bringing back other baby birds to their nests as well. So anyway, what is really interesting, and this is just a little bit of inside baseball on YouTube, in case you have a channel and you wonder about this, just in case this is of interest. It's been phenomenal to me how many people ask me the same questions over and over again about what's going on in that crow video. And the reason it's of interest to me is I've answered it a lot in the replies, but the question is in the answers are in the description. I have a detailed description answering a lot of the questions. And I even finally pinned a comment from me saying, if you look at the description, a lot of the questions that are being asked are answered in the description if you want to know sooner rather than waiting for me to reply. But I can't fault people, entirely for this, because YouTube has made it harder for you to see the description. It used to be pretty, by default, you could find that description or at least see the beginning of the text for a description and then click more and see the rest. But now it's often entirely hidden. And so if you're on a mobile device, which most of us are nowadays, like on a phone or a tablet, you've got to know where this little tiny arrow, light arrow, very Apple-esque, very opaque. You got to tap that and boom, all of a sudden the text reveals. And you got to know where to click on a PC or a desktop as well to reveal that description. So why? That doesn't sound like it's user-friendly. That doesn't seem like it would score well in usability testing. Well, the popular opinion, I believe, is that YouTube knows that a lot of us like to put links in those descriptions, and they want to keep us on YouTube. They don't want to have showcasing links that drives traffic away from YouTube to our websites or other source sites that might be related to the video. So I think that's the reason why. But I do like the approach that I've taken where I have now pinned my own comment so it appears by default with a heads up about how to find the answers to your questions quickly. And I even explain how to tap on a mobile device or where to click on a desktop, or a laptop. So there you have it. Probably more than you really cared to hear, but that might be helpful to somebody. So I thought I'd share it. So that's where we're at. Let's see. Tom says, too hard for me. That is not too tech savvy, not too user friendly, perhaps, Tom. I hear you. Yeah. So unless there are any other questions, I won't keep hanging on to. Oh, I even got 2 thumbs up. Thanks, guys. And I'm going to have to go back and edit the beginning of this and eliminate the first 5 minutes because I didn't have my mic unmuted. My apologies for that. But I'm so glad that you guys came in. Let's see. I'm checking the YouTube live chat. Nothing new just yet. And let's check and make sure I'm not missing anything from attendees. Tony's there. No digital hands to come on board, which is fine. No Q&A there. So I think we're good. Deep breath. I'm off tomorrow. So I feel like this is my Friday. Got things to do tomorrow, though. Enjoying the mild temperatures. I hope that you have been having a good week. Tumultuous times out there. A lot of division out there. Know that when you come here, it's a respectful community. And the aim is to share and to build a community. So I thank you for investing the 15 or 20 minutes that you stopped by tonight. Thanks a lot. Really do appreciate it. I hope you have a wonderful evening. Take care, everybody, and I'll see you again soon. So long, and have a good night or good morning, wherever you might be.